The National News Desk, locally covered, nationally connected.
A renewed push for Middle East peace happening right now inside Mar-a-Lago. From Gaza to Iran, the fresh list of demands from Israel's leader.
I mean, you know, road's up here somewhere. We're just gonna kind of winging it.
Winter whiteout. Look at that. More than 30 million Americans on alert tonight for dangerous conditions. And a now viral video raising even more questions about alleged widespread fraud in Minnesota. Good evening and welcome to the National News Desk, America's News. Now, I'm Dee Dee Gatton, and today President Donald Trump is working to advance peace in multiple parts of the world, starting with new progress on negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. We'll get to that in just a moment. But first, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he had a very productive meeting with President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, where the two leaders discussed the Gaza ceasefire. The National News Desk, Kelly Gaskins, reports.
A critical face-to-face meeting Monday at President Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu making the trip to Florida to discuss Gaza and Iran. The leaders presenting a united front and a warm relationship.
He's a wartime prime minister. He's done a phenomenal job.
The meeting comes as President Trump presses to advance the ceasefire he brokered in Gaza, a 20-point peace plan calling for Israeli forces to withdraw from Gaza and for Hamas to disarm. The truce took effect in October, ending a 2-year war sparked by the October 7th Hamas terror attack on Israel. It's mostly holding, although a few skirmishes still break out. The ceasefire is still in the first of a 3-phase plan, but as it moves towards the more complex second phase, momentum has slowed.
There has to be a disarmament, that we have to disarm with Hamas.
Trump said they'll start rebuilding Gaza soon. Meanwhile, Israel growing increasingly concerned about Iran amid reports Iran has resumed testing ballistic missiles.
Now I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down. We'll knock them down. We'll knock the hell out of them, but hopefully that's not happening. I heard Iran wants to make a deal. If they want to make a deal, that's much smarter.
On Saturday, Iran's president said in an interview, "In my opinion, we are in a full-fledged war with America, Israel, and Europe. They do not want our country to stand on its feet." Israel also launching a new round of airstrikes in southern Lebanon, targeting what it says are military positions of the Iranian-backed terror group Hezbollah. The strikes come as pressure mounts on Lebanese authorities to rein in Hezbollah's military activity ahead of a New Year's deadline tied to international agreements aimed at preventing a renewed conflict along the Israel-Lebanon border. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
New developments in efforts to end the war in Ukraine. President Trump said he had a very good talk with Russian President Vladimir Putin this morning. Listen.
We spoke at 8 o'clock in the morning hour time, and it was a very productive talk. I mean, we have a few very thorny issues, as you can imagine. He knows about thorny issues probably better than anybody in the world, but it's working out. We have a couple of issues that we're going to get resolved, hopefully, and if we get them resolved, you're going to have peace.
Trump also said he was very angry to hear about reports from Russian officials that a Ukrainian drone had attacked one of Putin's residences. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky denied the allegations. Speaking of Zelensky, who met with Trump in person yesterday, said the U.S. is offering Ukraine a 15-year security guarantee as part of a peace plan. Zelensky said he'd prefer a 50-year commitment. Authorities have identified the two victims of a deadly helicopter crash in New Jersey, a 65-year-old Kenneth Kirsch and 71-year-old Michael Greenberg. Police said Kirsch died at the hospital and Greenberg died at the crash site near Philadelphia. You can see right here behind me. Another person was seriously hurt, we understand. The Federal Aviation Administration says only the pilots were on board each aircraft. The FAA and National Transportation Safety Board, they are investigating. Right now, a search continues for a Texas teen, Camila Mendoza Olmos. Investigators say the 19-year-old was last seen leaving her home in San Antonio Wednesday morning. Her mother thought she was just going for a walk, but her family called the police hours later since she had not returned. One video shows a woman who appears to be Camila going through her car, but there's not much other evidence.
The criteria for a clear alert, which was issued in this case, is that there's imminent danger. Now, we consider imminent danger to be anything from self-harm all the way through somebody actually kidnapping Camila. And all of those possibilities exist at present. We can't rule anything out at this point in the investigation.
The Bexar County Sheriff's Office, dozens of volunteers, the FBI, and the Department of Homeland Security are helping with the search. If you have any information, call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. Chicago police are asking for your help finding the suspects in a fatal shooting early yesterday. One man was killed, 3 others critically injured in the city's River North district. Police said 4 suspects started shooting at a group of people getting into a car, then took off. Police have not said whether the violence was targeted. There is a $10,000 reward for any information. Also, we are learning new details tonight. The Utah judge overseeing the trial of Charlie Kirk's alleged murderer is making an earlier hearing public. Today, the judge ruled that the audio and transcripts from an October hearing will be made available with some redactions. The hearing in question determined the defendant, Tyler Robinson, will remain restrained, but in civilian clothes for future court appearances. Kirk, a conservative influencer, was shot and killed in September. Prosecutors are expected to lay out their case against Robinson in May. The Virginia man arrested and charged with planting pipe bombs outside the Republican and Democratic National Committees the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot says he wasn't targeting either party. According to the Justice Department, Brian Cole admitted to planting the bombs after initially denying involvement. Cole said he didn't like either party, but felt like they both caused political unrest. Cole will appear in court tomorrow. The U.S. military strike last week on a facility in Venezuela involved a major explosion, according to President Trump. Today, he said the U.S. hit and destroyed the, quote, implementation area near a dock where boats are loaded with drugs. Trump said in a radio interview Friday that the U.S. had struck this facility Wednesday night, but did not offer further details. Taking a look at America's economy now as 2025 comes to an end, economists are making their forecasts for 2026. Most expect inflation to slow and for the economy to grow at a steady but moderate pace. The National News Desk, Atra El-Nashar, has a closer look at what Americans can expect in 2026, starting with their tax refund.
2025 was a roller coaster year for the U.S. economy. It saw record highs for the stock market, but also unpredictable tariff rates and mass federal layoffs. Consumers and businesses hope 2026 brings at least a bit more certainty.
I can see that we're going to have a gigantic refund year in the first quarter.
The Trump administration promising Americans will see larger tax refunds than previous years.
Next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time.
Because some tax cuts included in the One Big Beautiful Bill are retroactive, like deducting up to $25,000 in tips.
I think households could see, depending on the number of workers, $1,000, $2,000 refunds.
Consumers' expectations for their own personal finances ticked up this month, but remain historically low, according to the University of Michigan's surveys of consumers. Optimism among small business owners also rising slightly, according to the National Federation of Independent Business, but supply chain disruptions and labor were cited as top concerns. Last month, 33% of small business owners said they had job openings they could not fill. The CEO of Bank of America, the nation's largest small business lender, says they see it firsthand with their clients.
Their issue right now is, can I get the labor I need to do to bid the contracts to do the work I'm doing? Because the immigration policies haven't settled in yet, and that's causing people concern. How they get there is, I need people to do this work, and I need to be dependable. They're here. So give me a set of rules, and I'll go play with them, but I need to be clarified what the rules are.
Another wild card for the 2026 economy is the future of tariffs. At any time, the Supreme Court could issue its ruling on whether President Trump overstepped his authority by unilaterally imposing global tariffs. And whatever the justices decide, it will have a massive impact on supply chains, economic growth, and prices on store shelves.
Absolutely. And Atra, Wednesday, the last trading day of the year, what do predictions for the 2026 stock market look like?
Well, there are certainly concerns about a potential AI bubble, other stocks being overvalued, but really, Didi, the consensus among analysts is that the bull market we're currently seeing will likely continue well into 2026. In fact, Morgan Stanley economists predict that the S&P 500 will gain 10% over the next year, reaching about 7,500. Now, there are reasons for investors to stay cautious and, be careful about where they put their money, of course, as is always the case, but skyrocketing healthcare costs especially, and then possible political influence over the new incoming Federal Reserve Chair, whoever that is, could cause additional instability in 2026.
President Donald Trump touching on that a little bit today in Washington, D.C. Atra El-Nashar, thank you. Coming up, the region's at risk right now for dangerous ice, snow, and wind from an intense winter storm. Then, red threat. New details after China conducts a new round of military drills. What we're learning about the move, leaving leaders around the world on high alert. And bouncing back, the growing support for small businesses in North Carolina more than a year after Hurricane Helene. We'll be right back. As we come back on the air right now, an intense winter storm is bringing heavy snow, dangerous ice, and gusty winds. Look at this. You can't see out there in the central and eastern parts of the U.S. Over 100 million people are under wind advisories or warnings, and over 10 million are under winter weather alerts. Parts of Michigan, in fact, they have gotten over a foot of snow already, and this is what it looked like earlier today in Newberry. Forecasters are warning about dangerous travel from whiteout conditions in several states. You can see the blowing snow in this video in Michigan. These conditions have led to crashes and downed power lines in the western part of that state. Now, the storm is adding to an already strained travel period for many flying or taking to the roads. Today, over 800 flights within, into, or out of the U.S. were canceled, and over 7,300 were delayed. There has been swift reaction to new claims of fraud in Minnesota. This following a now viral video allegedly showing dozens of examples of federally funded businesses that don't do what they say they do. FBI Director Kash Patel says he's already surged resources to Minnesota. Posting on X, the FBI believes this is just the tip of a very large iceberg. Here's the National News Desk, Christine Frizzell.
The Department of Homeland Security posting this video of agents, quote, going door to door at suspected fraud sites in Minnesota.
This door is locked.
Following this now viral video showing what appear to be empty daycare centers, mostly run by members of the Somali community, which receive millions of dollars in taxpayer money.
Are there children here today?
No. More than a dozen healthcare companies listed in this building raising major questions about if they're companies at all.
All of these businesses are literally the same type of business, providing the same service in the same building.
Alarm bells also sounding about companies connected to what Minnesota's Department of Human Services website calls non-emergency medical transportation to get people to and from non-emergency medical service appointments.
Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
Speaker of the House Mike Johnson calling the video jaw-dropping, announcing the House Oversight Committee has expanded its investigation, with partners in the Senate also promising action.
I'm chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. This will be a primary focus of ours, and unfortunately, particularly in Democrat-controlled states, they're not. They refuse those records. I've got subpoena power. I will use that subpoena power to obtain these records.
Well, it's amazing to me that a 23-year-old journalist, a YouTuber, who's now got over 80 million views on this thing, found more in a matter of hours than Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, our Attorney General, have found in 7 years.
The latest claims follow multiple others in the state, with more than $1 billion in reported fraud. The biggest case involved a group called Feeding Our Future, which received hundreds of millions of dollars to provide meals it never did. Minnesota fraud cases so far resulting in 92 people charged, 82 of whom are Somali Americans, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Governor Tim Walz responding earlier this month.
This is on my watch. I am accountable for this, and more importantly, I am the one that will fix it.
Finding a fix for fraud said to be a top priority when lawmakers return to Capitol Hill. I'm Christine Frizzell for the National News Desk.
Tonight, China's military is now conducting drills around the island of Taiwan. Taiwanese officials, they say they are placing forces on high alert, calling Beijing the, quote, biggest destroyer of peace. The drills come amid anger at what could be the largest ever U.S. armed sail to the self-ruled territory, and after Japan's prime minister expressed support for intervening militarily if China takes action against Taiwan. China claims the island is under Beijing's authority. Live to Cleveland, where new Cleveland Clinic research may have pinpointed a way to reverse Alzheimer's disease through a new study using animals. Researchers say they found that restoring a central cellular energy molecule in mice brains actually reversed the markers of the disease and slowed cognitive decline. They found that the brain's inability to maintain healthy levels of a vital cellular energy molecule plays a major role in driving Alzheimer's. In animal models, maintaining normal brain NAD+ levels prevented Alzheimer's from developing. Even more striking, restoring NAD+ balance after the disease was already advanced. Each year, more than 1 million tons of sewage sludge or biosolids are applied to U.S. farmlands. It's been used for decades as fertilizer and to provide nutrients for the soil, but it often contains PFAS, toxic forever chemicals tied to cancer, now invading our food supply through the very farms that nourish us. As Lisa Fletcher reports, just as we were on the verge of action to address the risk, there's a high-level effort to shut it down.
An invisible enemy is being welcomed onto American farms.
This is a forever chemical. It's not leaving.
Fertilizer that can be teeming with toxic PFAS is being spread across tens of millions of acres, absorbed by crops, eaten by livestock, and showing up in the produce, milk, and meat Americans consume.
All a farmer wants to do is grow a good, healthy crop, do right by the land, feed the public in a responsible manner. And when something is injected into his world like this, it's going to devastate him.
Rob Hinton is a fourth-generation Virginia farmer, trying to alert others to a crisis already playing out in places like Michigan and Maine, where farms utilizing PFAS-laden sludge have been shut down when the animals and soil turned toxic.
This is about as real as it gets, guys.
Maine farmer Fred Stone was forced to close his dairy farm and euthanize 80% of his herd when milk from his cows had levels of PFAS 350 times higher than the current limit for drinking water. Stone is now sick, battling extremely high levels of PFAS in his blood.
The health issues that the four of us have are pretty severe. We literally poisoned our our son and my daughter.
The chemicals are tied to cancer, reproductive issues, and developmental effects in children, even decreased response to vaccines. Enough evidence for Rob Hinton to say no to sludge.
You passed on using it.
We passed on using it. I gave it a hard look twice, and we walked away from it.
Away from a product used on about 1/5 of all U.S. farmland. Here's how it works. Wastewater treatment facilities pay companies to haul tons of human excrement, or biosolids. Those companies have to unload the waste, often by giving it to farmers for free to spread on their land.
That's hundreds of millions of people in the U.S. eating food from farms that use biosolids. So the exposure is incredibly high.
Which is why EPA action is so important, says Kyla Bennett, Director of Science Policy at Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility. For the first time ever, this year, the EPA identified risks from sludge containing PFAS being spread on farms. The agency found that food and milk produced on those farms could be unsafe for human health. Elevated cancer risk was one of the agency's markers for safety.
We can give you cancer and kill you, but there's going to be a lag time. And the more that you eat, the more you're exposed to.
Only a handful of states are testing for PFAS in biosolids, and what they're finding are levels so alarming they're considering statewide bans. In the widespread absence of regulation, farmers are on their own.
Who's left to fix the problem?
No one. I don't know what I can do about it. This interview is about all I can do about it. I'm not saying shut this whole thing down. Let's say do your due diligence, do your job, be a government, regulate this stuff, educate the people who are affected, and let's figure it out.
For Spotlight on America, I'm Lisa Fletcher.
Coming up, travel tech, a look at the new mobile ID option for Virginia residents when flying across the country. We'll have that story right after this. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering issues that matter to you. We are taking the pulse of America.
When it comes to traveling, everyone has their system.
And then when I park my rental car, I come in, I already have everything in my backpack.
I had everything out and everything was ready and prepped.
But if you're a Virginian, instead of going through your wallet to hand over your ID at the TSA checkpoint, now you have the option to just take out your phone.
It is a secure digital version of your physical driver's license or ID.
Camila Barco is a spokesperson for the Virginia Department of Motor Vehicles.
If you click on that travel tab, it'll have a QR code with your face on it. And then the TSA agent will scan that QR code and verify that it's you.
I downloaded the Virginia Mobile ID app to test it out. It took just over a minute to verify my identity, scan my driver's license, and enroll. The app verifies it's you through biometrics before you can access the different categories to share specific ID details. For TSA, only things like your date of birth and real ID status are shared via QR code through Bluetooth encryption.
And they won't be able to see any more information information than what is needed. The mobile ID, it doesn't access any other phone data, it doesn't track your location, it doesn't report any of that usage to the DMV.
Families both new and seasoned, flocking from both near and far to Las Vegas for the holiday.
A football trip for just me and him, and then when the Backstreet Boys announced the residency at the Sphere, all 6 of us wanted to come.
This time we're all over 21. Every Christmas, it's what we do. We just do matching pajamas at home. My son was born December 24th. And this is where he wanted to spend his birthday.
15.
So we'll be back in 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years, he'll be 21.
Anywhere we are as a family is enjoyable, and we love to travel, so this has been fantastic.
Las Vegas is a very famous city, and we would like to enjoy our Christmas food here and enjoy the gambling.
Yeah, we love Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Those we spoke to saying the price tag on their trip may have been higher than they were used to, but not enough to keep them from wanting to come to the entertainment capital of the world.
Understand that on a vacation, things are going to be more expensive than they are at home. So you can just plan for it. And there's just so much to do in Vegas.
Chimney Rock Smokehouse is open. Nick Sotilli's the owner.
Super proud to just bring happiness to our community, especially after being shut down for so long.
Nick and his proud staff are working hard. Orders up for people who drove in from as far as Charlotte to dine here with lots of delicious barbecue.
People are coming and they want to spend money. They don't care if they're going to shops and buying little trinkets or not. They just want to support our local economy.
My church, I go to in Yadkinville, Collide Church. We donated a lot of product, clothing.
Scotty Michaels and Bobby Gray drove 2 hours to see what Helene did, but also pledging to spend.
Eat, visit the shops.
These folks running businesses and people that are almost like her that have rental places as well. That's what you need to bring is money that they can use right now.
Coming up, a preview of Wednesday night's New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square. We'll be right back. The city that never sleeps preparing for the annual New Year's Eve celebration. The 2026 numerals arrived in Times Square just in time. They're 7 feet tall. The display will be red, white, and blue, marking America's 250th birthday. That's going to do it for us for this edition of the National News Desk. We invite you to join us again this evening starting at 10 p.m. I'm Dee Dee Gatt. We'll see you tonight.